Yo, Philly 254 living life. Back at it. So I said I wouldn't do it, but I'm doing it. We got ourselves just a quick little comparison of the Steam Deck. You know who she is. And of course, Nintendo Switch. There you go. There you go. So before we get into that, real quick, make sure you do like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. You like videos on Steam Deck, cloud gaming, whatnot, Stadia refunds are here. I'm getting some of mine, so I'm sure a lot of people are getting theirs as well. Hang in there. Like, subscribe. You know what it is. Keep it moving. Oh, and check that out. Get yourself a That's What I Do shirt. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So, I was going to do a straight up, like, which is better. But if you really think about it, there is no real comparison in a sense, because it's really at the end of the day, it's what are you looking for? You know, if you're a Nintendo guy, you're not really gonna get the latest Nintendo Switch games on the Steam Deck. You know, you can get some of the older games, obviously, because Steam Deck does, it does emulators. But the latest ones, you may not get on the Steam Deck, and if you do, you got to get them illegal or some shit. I don't know, but. So if you're a Nintendo guy, of course, I would say just go and get yourself a Switch. This is the OG Switch, by the way, the original, not the light. We comparing the OG, not the light of the OLED, because one I don't have. I do have a light around here somewhere. My kids got one, but the OLED, we don't have that here. And really, the only difference between the OLED and the OG is that the OLED obviously has a bigger screen, and it's an OLED screen, obviously, and I think it's like 64 gigs versus. I think this thing says like 32 or 16 or something. I don't know. So there's not a lot of difference on the inside. Let's put it that way. So there's no real reason to, compare the two in that sense. Oh, and I think its dock is better with the OLED. Okay, whatever. So if you want to get if you're a Nintendo person, you're gonna get a Nintendo Switch regardless. You know what I'm saying? But if you want anything else, that's where this bad boy comes in. So when I say anything else, what am I talking about? So originally, I had the Nintendo Switch, and it was cool, and it does have games that aren't Nintendo games, okay. But the Switch is just underpowered. It can't keep up with today's games, and at this point, I don't know if they can try to port a current game to a Nintendo Switch. You know what I'm saying? I could buy not the new God of War, but I could buy God of War on Steam. Play it on Steam Deck. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo Switch, even if it was available, it ain't gonna play God of War. You know what I'm saying? Or it's gonna be like a PlayStation 1 God of War or something. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't keeping up too well with the games. For example, Dead by Daylight just sucked on the Switch. It did. I think Doom was on the Switch. I didn't buy it, but I think it was on the Switch. I can't remember. But there are plenty of other games that came out on Switch, as well as other platforms, and the Switch version was obviously the lowest one, as far as quality-wise, Where the Steam Deck, it can keep up pretty well. It can keep up pretty well. It ain't too shabby in the game right now, at least for now. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, games as consoles get stronger, PCs get more powerful, the Steam Deck is going to struggle to keep up a little bit without some kind of upgrades going on the internals or whatnot. But at least out the gate, it can keep up. The Switch out the gate was already behind the curve, but it wasn't going to be able to keep up. You know what I'm saying? It was cool that you could play certain games like Dead by Daylight or something, portable or whatever, and it's not like the mobile version of Dead by Daylight. But you know what I'm saying? It's portable and whatnot, and it just sucked though. I mean, it is what it is. And Steam Deck, technically, you can't play Dead by Daylight out the box on the Steam Deck. You gotta install Windows on an SD card or something. But you get the point I'm getting at. You get where I'm coming from with this. So, but if you really think about it though, they check off a lot of the same check boxes. They kind of they're in the same category of portable gaming, but also can be, kind of like a console, like a little mini console as well, because it can connect to your TV or your monitor or whatnot. So let's think about what you get in the box. Let's put the Steam Deck down. We got the Switch. What do you get in the box with a Switch? So out the box, and I'm trying to remember because it's been a few years now. I think you got a case. Yeah, you got a case. Got yourself a dock. So that was pretty cool right there. The dock itself was pretty cool. It came with the Switch. I don't know about nowadays. I know a light obviously doesn't come with a dock because it can't dock, but at the gate it came with a dock with the Switch, and of course it came with this little nifty thing here. And what is this for? So the thing about the Switch was it was designed so you could still play 2-player games, because these little controllers on the side, they call them Joy-Cons. Take them off, and you can kind of hold it like this and play. It was not a fun experience. I've tried it. Trust me. Some of my friends, we tried playing Smash Bros. It was not a fun. Just look how little this thing is. You know what I'm saying? At least you got baby hands. This ain't gonna be too comfortable. But you can also do this, because the Switch also comes with a little stand. You know, has a little stand on it. It kind of sucked, but it had a stand. But you could do this. Connected, because these bad boys also connected to the Switch via Bluetooth. And now you got yourself a little makeshift controller. You know what I'm saying? OG, like it's not the best, but it gets the job done if you really wanted to, right? And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now, the problem with the Joy-Cons, at least the original ones, I don't know if if it's still an issue, was they always were plagued with a whole lot of drift, joystick drift. And the thing about the Joy-Cons, they felt kind of cheap. Let's be real. They felt kind of cheap. They were real little, you know, but they were just there to get the job done. But they had this issue with the drift. You know, if you're playing Smash Bros. And all of a sudden your character decides he gonna run to the left, and you trying to go right, you know, or you just standing still, and he decides to take off and jump off. You know what I'm saying? That kind of sucks. So I had a lot of that, and to remedy that myself personally with the Switch, I got these bad boys right here. They're called the Hori Switch Pads, I believe. Hori Switch Pads. You can put these on here. I'm gonna take these off the Switch real quick. Throw it to the side. Put these bad boys on. Made playing with the Switch a whole lot more bearable. It was a whole lot more bearable. Made it bigger, so you know I can feel it. Feels a little bigger in my hands. The joysticks, analog sticks, whatever, they were much better. And of course, and then I didn't get the drift anymore, obviously. So, and you know, until the day I stopped playing the Switch, I never had drift again. Never again. It was never an issue. So if you do have a Switch, at least the OG Switch, I don't know about it. You know, these might be too small to fit on the OLED. I think the OLED's a little bit bigger or whatever. Get you some of these. I'll throw the link in the description. It's off. They're awesome. They're awesome. But you know, and then of course, you know, you had to pay for Switch Online, which was kind of stupid. But you pay for Switch Online or Nintendo Online or whatever they called it, and you can play online gaming. And of course, you know, Nintendo's online infrastructure is not really there, really, but it allows you to play online gaming and whatnot. But the only problem with the Switch, as we always said, was the power. Just lacked the power. I don't even think it has. And I don't know this for certain, but I've read that it doesn't even have the power to really, be able to pull off rollback net code for certain games. That's why, like, Smash Bros. Just sucked online. It was horrible. I mean, but it is what it is, right? So, but the strength of the Switch, obviously at the time, it was the only console like this, had this kind of form factor, and also it could switch. Like I said, it came with a dock, so you could connect to the dock. Now you're playing it on your TV. You buy yourself a Nintendo, Switch Pro controller, and you're in the game. You know what I'm saying? Or you can connect little controllers to your Joy-Cons to this bad boy. You're in there gaming. So it was pretty cool. That was all pretty good. It was all pretty good. I can't knock for that. Knocking for it at all. You're just kind of locked into Nintendo's ecosystem. So third-party games, unless they were made specifically for Nintendo Switch, which not a lot are, they're ports, that kind of thing. But Nintendo games, obviously, games made by Nintendo or third-party specifically for Nintendo Switch, they're obviously going to be optimized for the Switch much better. So, it is what it is. If that's what you're looking for, Nintendo games or games specifically for the Switch, that's your thing. That's your thing. Go for it. Wasn't really my thing. That's when it ended up. I heard about this bad boy right here. I was waiting. I was on that waiting list like the rest of y'all. Now here's the other thing. What do you get out of the box with this bad boy? Try to remember. Basically, you got the case and you got him. I think you got some little wipes, to wipe down the screen and whatnot. But that's about it. But what you get with just the bare bones minimum, shoot. Well, first of all, Well, obviously, you also got a plug. First of all, you can order different models. When I say models, different size, hard drive size. So whereas with the Switch, you was locked down to that 32 or whatever gig Switch, and then by the way, the Switch, I'd say it was guaranteed you needed to buy an SD card. There is no ifs ands about it, and you can't upgrade the memory. The Switch is not meant to be tampered with. Nintendo don't play that. So so you needed to buy an SD card to go with your Switch. It was mandatory pretty much. So that's one thing. And then technically, I mean, you could buy. I think they sold the actual Switch games, but those things were so little, man. Just might as well download them. And that was, that was a plus. You had an option. You could purchase the games, physical games, or you could just download them. I just purchased the games online and downloaded them because I'm not walking around with little bitty SD card sized games. But anyway, what do you give this bad boy? So you just get what you see. But the plus side of it is if you got an HDMI cord laying around, you technically can just plug it in. Get yourself one of those little. Well, it's not even a dock. You can just get. I forgot what I call it. It was like a 7-in-1. Plug that into the HDMI cord. You're in there like swimwear. Now, of course, you could have got you a dock, like a lot of people did anyway. Get your third-party dock or an official dock. A lot of them are really good at what they do. Get you one of those, and now you're in there like you're in there properly, like swimwear. And the one thing I will say, it does not have the options like the Switch where you could, buy a game online or buy a physical copy. But again, most people, we buy our games online. Let's be honest with you. Steam games, you don't get physical copies. You buy them digitally, you download them to the device, and you're in there. Which is why you got options for larger memory. Of course, if you in the cool thing about it, let's say you with the cheapest route, I'm gonna get the cheapest one, get the smallest hard drive, and just get it. I just want it. One, you better get your SD card, guaranteed, because obviously SD cards work with this as well. And two, most importantly, later on, if you want to upgrade the memory, you can. Steam said, man, this is your stuff. You bought it, play with it, do what you want with it. Put Windows on it. Put Windows on it. Put a new hard drive in there. Get an external hard drive, whatever. I don't care. It's yours. You bought it. Do what you want to do with it. And so that's what people do with Steam's. I don't know, blessings, I guess. So that's cool, and that's what's cool about it. So what do you get with it? So of course it's much bigger than the Switch. Let's do a little size comparison. Well, let me take these bad boys off the Switch. Again, if you got a Switch, the OG, get you one of these. I'm pretty sure they make them for the OLED too, but at least we got the OG. Get yourself one of these. Some of these. Let's see. Turn these around. Let's put it on backwards. Oh, this probably be cut out. I'm gonna be honest with you. Anyway, size-wise, much bigger. Heavier, definitely heavier. A lot more thick than the Switch. But I like it. I like how it feels. It's just hardware. You feel like you got hardware in your hands, not a toy. Plenty of room to play. So, because these, just unlike the Joy-Cons, you can take them off, replace them, whatever. These on there. This is it. They don't come off. It's part of the system. So it's great that even though it's part of the system, you can't replace it or anything. They work well. They're nicely placed, and you get a couple track pads. Obviously, you get a couple track pads. So everything, I can't knock it. I've got a little issues with the D-pad. With fighting games, I just feel like that D-pad is weird on fighting games, but it is what it is. Can't be perfect, I suppose. Like I said, you can install other OSs on it, Windows. You can do Windows on the SD card, and that way you can just game off certain games that are not Steam Deck compatible yet. But throw Windows on the SD card and game that way if you really want to. It's all good. Or just work with whatever Steam Deck compatible. Since the thing about Nintendo Switch is games have to be made for it. You follow me? So just like any console, Steam Deck is tailor made. It was made to the games. So all the games that are on Steam, that's its library. Now, of course, games have to be made compatible and whatnot because Steam Deck is Linux based. So, um, but quite a few are obviously, and then there are of course your free games, which I may do a video on that talking about free games for the Steam Deck. But it's everything for one. I feel like it's the better deal. I'm throwing it out there. It's the better deal for me. Yeah, you don't get yourself a dock in the box, but I mean, you can't win them all. You got yourself an overall, to me, an overall better system, much more powerful. And like I said earlier, if you really want to play some Nintendo games, you can do emulators if you really want to. I mean, if that's your thing. But again, like I said, I'm not gonna do a straight up, this one's better than this one. I'm not gonna flat out say that, but in my opinion, this is the better deal. Real talk. Anyway, you like more videos on the Steam Deck. Probably not gonna do any videos much more on the Switch, to be honest with you. If you like videos on the Steam Deck, cloud gaming, please like and subscribe. Cruise through the playlist. Get yourself a That's What I Do shirt. Link in description, pin comment, and we out.